What have you seen as the biggest concerns from parents at this point? So here we are, a month or so into all these families being thrown right into homeschool. What concerns are you hearing?
It's really interesting. The questions that I got a month ago were about logistics. How do we coordinate working from home for the first time with learning at home and using Zoom for classes? So that was the beginning. And my advice at the beginning is always to recognize that it takes time to make such a big adjustment. Home is not school. School is a completely different environment. It is designed to herd a large number of children through a set curriculum. And the teacher has the full authority. You need a hall pass just to pee, right? You can't leave the room. You're not going to get up and get a snack. Maybe there are couches, but you're not really free to just go sit on them whenever you want. The teacher has a certain method, a certain system, a certain performance. And the students know that, and they cooperate with it beautifully in the school setting. But then you bring them into the home. And the home is a completely different set of criteria for being. We want to just be ourselves. We'll go stand in front of the refrigerator for 10 minutes trying to decide what to eat. We get up and use the bathroom whenever we want. We throw ourselves on the couch. And then a parent says, no, you have to sit at a desk or sit at the table and get this done. And there's this interior rebellion that comes out of children. It's like they know intuitively this is the place they get to be themselves. They don't want those restrictions. So the first piece of advice I give everyone is use the unique properties of home, the magic of home, to support the academics. And what does that look like? Well, maybe you're on your Zoom call and your child is feeling frustrated and distracted. So you give them a little bowl of peanuts to snack on. So they have something to do with their hands while they're staring at the screen. Maybe your child has a writing assignment. Well, can you get out a clipboard, tuck them into the corner of the sectional, let them pet the cat, and do it on a clipboard? Could you turn on music and let them wear their headphones so that they have a feeling of ejecting themselves from the chaos of the dog and the toddlers and the baby, and they can sort of tune into their own world? Home can support the academics when we indulge it more than when we defy it.
So you personally, and for people who maybe have the option or the luxury of kind of sectioning off areas of their home just for education, do you do that or recommend that? Or like you said, you think the whole house should be a part of the learning environment?
So interestingly, homeschoolers universally, the ones who choose to be homeschoolers, almost always start with a homeschool room and a desk. And within a month, it's a homeschool house because children just can't be contained that easily in the place they call home. Not only that, the home offers you lots of opportunities. You might have two kids up in the master bedroom watching Sesame Street, so you can give two older kids personalized attention during math. And then you swap. You put the older two kids upstairs where they watch what they want to watch while you work with the younger two on phonics. So the house affords you opportunities. And you asked about, well, so now we're a month in. Now's the time to mix it up a little bit. Everyone's starting to feel stir crazy. They're starting to feel like, oh no, I am going to live this way forever. I have to always start at 9 in the morning with math. Maybe do math in the afternoon. Maybe save it for the weekend. Maybe get outside in your backyard and do the problems orally, throwing a frisbee or a lacrosse stick. Maybe you play horse, and each time you shoot a basket, you think to yourself, okay, I'm going to make this really hard basket, and if they make it, they get 3 points. And then they make it, and you make up your own rules, but you are practicing math at the same time. Or you play endless board games. Give yourself permission to use your body, to use entertainment, to use sports, to use physical activity to help your kids stay engaged. Because let me tell you, school had more activity than most of us are getting at home right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's a cool idea. Gamifying the learning process and making it fun and engaging. And I think if I'm correct, on your website on Brave Writer, parents can get some ideas on different games or different activities they can play to help make it a little more fun, make learning a little more fun.
Absolutely. So bravewriter.com/homebound has a whole bunch of activities that you can download, some webinars to watch about this environment. We also did a week-long conference where we taught about how to do math at home, how to do writing at home. So if you go there, you will see all that stuff. It's free for anyone who is interested in more ideas.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because in the ideal world and probably honestly in the homeschooling world that you were in and that you brought your kids up in, you had a lot of options, right? Like you could go
We
to
did.
museums, or you could go to the mall and turn that into a lesson, or you could go to a like exotic supermarket and turn that into a lesson. But right now, what kind of advice would you give to parents who like really their backyard might be the extent of where they can go?
Truly. So there are a few things. We've watched parents do some amazing things. Like, let's say you're reading a book, historical fiction, something that you can download on Kindle. Maybe you can't shop for it. Maybe you can. Um, you can take that book and turn it into a full investigation. So let's say it features ancient Egypt. Well, maybe then do your Google sort of treasure hunt of looking for foods that you can approximate, looking for experiments that you can do. I know with my kids, we loved this practice that I created called Poetry Tea Time. So I would ask them to set the table. We'd get out my mother's china. We would make muffins. You could do this in the backyard as a picnic as the weather gets warmer as well. And then I would just stack the table with poetry books. And all we would do is read to each other while we sipped tea and we ate muffins. But even today, my kids are all adults now. That is still a core practice in their lives, is to have tea time, to read, to experience literature together. Because what we're doing is we're pairing something that they love, the party atmosphere, with education we value. So yes, I would say that at this time, taking advantage of the outdoors is good, looking for experiments, traveling through YouTube to different parts of the world. One of our families in my community showed us how they were doing a deep dive into each country by the order of coronavirus cases. So then they would just
Cool,
do
cool.
recipes and cook and look at that country in a little bit more depth.
Yeah, so that's interesting that your kids remember your tea time so fondly,
Mm.
and I think really as unfortunate and sad, and the deaths and the economic problems that are coming from this, it seems like kids are pretty, those that are well protected are kind of actually enjoying this. And I think there's a lot of kids saying like, I love being home with my parents or whoever they're home with, and they get to spend the days with them and they get to still learn, but they get to do it with their family. So I think, I know personally being involved in education and education law, it's, few and far between parents who choose homeschool as an option. And generally in my experience, and yours may be different, it's parents who really are just so frustrated with the school system. They're like,
Mm.
this is just my best option right now. It's not necessarily because they want to do it. I think a lot of families feel forced into homeschooling because they just kind of don't want to deal with their public school anymore. And maybe they can't afford private school. At least that's what I've seen. But I think now we might find parents who say, you know what, like this is actually pretty cool.